you press for your expression, the space to express yourself, the more the repression gets. And these are questions I've been asking myself. Is it a crime, for example, to protest? Will I walk out today and find some civilian clothed or even hooded men waiting for me because I have a certain idea? Another day, I was watching the news and I saw someone put out an idea that he's got the power to switch off the internet, the digital space. We must always think of this space as a space under threat, a space where contestation is vital. I think that is what we are charged with. We're charged with being the ones who keep the doors open, the windows open. Because democracy cannot mature in darkness. And seeing all of us here, understanding why we are here. For Article 19, what we're trying to do is create clarity in terms of our roadmap, create clarity in terms of our thinking about how we're going to ensure that the space remains open, that people express themselves, and actually people get to the objectives and the aims that they have. It is very, very vital in terms of democratic development for us to understand that a key piece of what we do is very much part of the national values. They are captured under Article 10 of the Constitution of Kenya. And all of them come from Article 1. Remember Article 1 of the Constitution, that we essentially are the sovereigns. So as we sit here, as today we celebrate and pat ourselves in the back, let's remember the struggle is out there. The struggle is out there, and I'm not sure whether you're going into rougher times or easier times. In my view, we'll get into more intense struggles as time goes on, because it's all contested. When you've got people challenging the idea that you can support a protest, just think about it. Think about it. Right now, under public authorities and public benefits, when we're talking about the PBO Act, we're being asked in a very random manner, we're being asked, come tell us what you have been doing. Like, that's all we have to do in the spaces that we work. That our work is to come and tell you, today I did A, B, C, D. Like there's no system, like there's no arrangement, like there's no framework for us to be accountable. We want to be accountable. But we're also saying that as we hold others accountable, let it be clear that we are still the sovereigns. We're still the key people who hold government to account. So let's remember, as we contest all these spaces, the struggle will continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kiai, sorry. Thank you, sir. You've actually taken us to the next presenter and what we will focus on, or what she is expertise in. But it reminded me of a story I saw this week. In 2020, a refugee in Europe was unemployed, facing unknown circumstances. 5 years later, he's one of the richest social media influencers we know. And they predict he might be top 10 richest people by 2029. We know who we are talking about? How are we using our digital spaces to grow and develop our people? Because that's what the next generation needs. Our parents came from a situation of telling us the jobs are there. We, in our generations, have seen a different story. So when we talk about digital rights, we are not just protecting it for civic space. We are protecting it for different sectors across the region and for the next generations. So ladies and gentlemen, allow me to call an expert in the digital sector, Madam Grace Mutungu. Karibu sana. She is involved in the ICT policy development over the past decade and has been engaged in various projects, including the country's domain administration, dispute resolution, public policy, public participation, and is also used in how do we use technology to achieve UN Sustainable Development Goals in Kenya. So karibu sana.
Thank you so much, and hello everybody. I know some people know me as Bomu. I am one and the same, but I'm also evolving. So nowadays I'm the serious Miss Mutungu. That said, I think one of the things that struck me most about the crowd here, other than the joy of seeing old friends, was seeing students. I think that is such an important thing to do as we walk this journey and as even we talk about our strategic plan. And it reminded me also, speaking of stories, of how the time when I came into adulthood, what our goals and dreams were. I came into adulthood at the same time when we had the first multi-party elections and Kibaki was voted in just when I was out of high school. Guy, I've grown old. But so it was such a, the whole thing of people returning from the US and other diaspora places to come back and build the country. The whole idea that we were now free to express ourselves, and there was radio everywhere. All sorts of content came from radio and so on and so forth. We thought we had made it, only to relate to the new generation now, the Gen Z, who have made such tremendous use of technology. I think it was unimaginable, yeah, when you look at how technology was used during the protest. It was, I don't think anybody ever imagined that this generation would turn the technologies that we knew, like radio and radio calls, into an app and make use of that in coordinating protests. When you look at also the issue of access to information and how there has been tremendous exposition of information that some of us were using the old school method of writing letters to public institutions to ask for, issues like the debt. And when they don't respond, then we write another letter to the office of the ombudsman for that process to be hastened. But they were able to somehow push and get that information out into the public sphere. I don't want to say just like that. I just want to say that it was, and it is, a very innovative use of the tools that are available in this day and age. And I think this explains to us why it's also important and why it's also timely for an organization like Article 19 Eastern Africa to also clarify its role in society right now. Article 19 has traditionally worked in defending freedom of expression. Its mandate comes from Article 19 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. I'm so glad the students I met are law students, so I know I'm not losing you when I talk about UDHR, and the rest of the room has a lot of activists and self-trained lawyers, so I'm not losing you when I talk about things like UDHR, and at least you're smiling, so I'm in a good place. And as you've seen everywhere, but let me just repeat it, our core values include integrity, transparency, accountability, resilience, and maybe I should just underline resilience because as Mugambi has said, it's been a whole hell of a ride, to say the least, in the past few months. But even before that, in the past maybe 10 or so years, it's not been easy. Another core value is solidarity, and as many of you in the media space know, part of Article 19's work includes being in solidarity with other partners and citizens who are working with a like-minded, in a like-minded way to increase the public sphere. I do not need to reiterate the importance of our work, but I'd just like to mention that beyond Kenya, which most of us, I'm assuming everyone is Kenyan here, I had people introducing themselves in Swahili. Okay, at least we are East African. So beyond Kenya, we are in the East African region. In almost all the East African states. Maybe the trivia here should be for people later on to tell us if they know all the East African community member states. And if you expand your horizon beyond Kenya, you'll understand that the issues that we face, the decreasing civic space, the contestation that Mugambi was talking about, is not only happening in Kenya, it's also happening. In fact, Kenyans are not exceptional in any way. It's something that is a trend in the whole of the region, in the whole of East Africa. And so our geographical reach is expanding beyond Kenya to include Uganda, Tanzania, Ethiopia, South Sudan, and Somalia. In all these places, we aim to foster and amplify voices and foster resilient civic spaces across the countries through strategic partnerships. As I would like to, since I'm here and I'm seeing all of you, to just do a call to action and to just, somebody will come and tell you more about the plan in greater detail, and there are also pamphlets on the table which explain the strategic plan. I really do hope that you carry them home and read them beyond today, because I think it's very clarified and cohesive plan to action, which plan of action which also shows you areas in which you can partner and integrate with us. But our plan, our call to action is just to remind you that this plan is more than a roadmap. We need your support, whether you're a donor, an activist, a citizen. We really need your support to create a world where freedom of expression is truly realized for all of us. We think this strategic plan is very significant turning point for Article 19 East Africa. We are excited to be led by a very reinvigorated board with new members. Hi. With diverse experience. As you've heard, I don't come from media at all. People from media have probably not interacted with as much. I come from the digital rights space. But we are excited by this diversity. We are also excited by the team that works at Article 19. They're very well positioned to ensure that this delivery of this plan will be successful, and they can provide, and they have been providing, critical oversight. We are very committed to financial sustainability. We have been working, and we keep working to mobilize and diversify our financial resources to sustain our work. So even as Mugambi talks about being summoned by the regulators to talk about where our money comes from and so on, part of the work is in getting some sustainability in our finances so that we can be able to mobilize and diversify our resources. So we are inviting funding partners, both the current ones and prospective ones, to join us on this journey. We are committed to working with diverse stakeholders. So we engage with human rights defenders, journalists, activists, marginalized communities, digital activists, civil society, state actors, and you'll hear from state actors, private sector, and others to advance our mission. So we really want to move with the whole of society as much as we can. And as we move forward, we are committed to responding to the challenges, including those that we've seen in the past few months, and we are likely to see in the following months in the whole of Eastern Africa. And we are committed to defending and promoting the public sphere. So we thank you so much for your continued support, and we look forward, as the board of directors, we look forward to working with you to achieve all these goals that we are laying out in the strategic plan. Asanteni sana.
Thank you, thank you. I want us to take a breather in one context. It's very easy to stand here and the spotlight is on us. But I want us to remember each and every one of us was invited for a special reason. You are our partners, you're our friends, you're our colleagues, you're our comrades. But there's also an element you bring to the table. And so that we are on the same page, I'm not sure we all remember. We know, but remember, what is expression? What is this stronger for expression? What exactly does it constitute? So I'll give you a breather, a way to meet your friend, a way to talk to your next person. You know those forums where you're told to tell your neighbor? Yeah? Yeah? Today is one of those days. So if you're not in this table and in this table, I need an answer from each table. I need an answer. Give me the 5 main concepts that make expression. When we say expression, what? The sooner you speak, the more answers you have. If you wait too long, you might run out of the better obvious answers. And I have the power to hold the meal vouchers. So your participation is encouraged. So if you're in a table, just raise your hand, shout, and tell us, what are the 5 main concepts? What constitutes expression? Any table can start. What do we mean by expression? What exactly are we expressing? Tick-tock, tick-tock. There are 5. Just when you think of expressing, what comes to you? What's your thought? Any table? Yes. Table 1. Index 1.
We lead by
Just
example.
one answer.
One answer.
Just one of the 5.
Thoughts. Or ideas.
Yeah. Give me, how do I express my thoughts? How? Like, you're there, you have the foundation of the answer. Any other table? Just say one answer. Hatutaki Mwakenya, hatutaki chopi. Just want one answer to show that you're here with us. Yes, there's a table at the back. There are 5, but you're there. My thoughts are...
Okay, one is opinion.
Yes.
Yeah, and opinion comes in giving your perspective. So you're free to express yourself to tell your perspective, how you see things, or your dimension of things. Yeah.
Okay, I'll
Thank
give
you.
you that. It's similar to this table, but there's a keyword I was looking for, but it's okay. We can pass. The next 4. Yes, this table at the front. Yes, what are you expressing? You're saying mode, but what are you expressing?
When I say mode of expression, I'm thinking either the availability of those channels to express.
You're almost there.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a gentleman at the center table.
I think for you to express yourself, you must have the information.
Mm-hmm.
So how you get this information, then how you impart it to others.
Okay.
And it has to be without interference.
You've explained the concept of, which is good. Now I'm looking for the foundation. So at least those tables have lunch guaranteed. The rest of us, my M-Pesa number is, tafadhali, tafadhali. So, is there one? I just need one more answer.